Good night, viewers, and welcome to this another program of Advancing the Cause. This program comes to you every Wednesday night from 18:30 hours to 20 hours. The official host of this program is the Honorable Coretta McDonald, AA, MP, and General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers Union. Due to pressing national issues, the Honorable Coretta McDonald could not have been here to host this program tonight. And therefore, I'm going to host the program in her absence. My name is Dennis Jaikran. And so the program tonight, the topic, so to speak, would be awaiting the time. Awaiting the time. And the order of the presentation would be education matters, local government and regional development matters, GTU matters, and a number of general issues. And so let me say before we commence this program proper, this program takes great pride tonight in congratulating and extending best wishes to all our learners across this country who are now presented and engaged today and tomorrow in the National Grade 6 assessment. This program would want to wish you well, to wish you success, and to wish you that peace and joy during that period tomorrow as you would have had today. To the parents, we continue to ask of you on this program to give that kind of support to your children who are now presented for this assessment today and tomorrow. Today have already been concluded, but for tomorrow. And we want to, this program, publicly acknowledge and say how grateful we are to all our teachers, more particularly those teachers who would have engaged our learners during the past years, bringing them to this stage so that they could have been presented in a very orderly fashion, been well prepared and rounded for this assessment that they are going to continue tomorrow. But you know, there is a difficulty, as always, in the education system. And maybe we want to say boldly, it is alleged that the Minister of Education, the Chief Education Officer, and other senior officers of the Ministry of Education would have instructed, allegedly, the officers of all the regions where these assessments are held in each of these centers or schools, so to speak, to take pictures, photographs of these learners who are presented for this assessment. Let me say that there has never been in the history of this country that pictures and photographs of learners writing any examination would have been compulsory as it is today and would continue tomorrow. This is an indictment, serious indictment on the part of the education system in this country. And this is what you call evasion of privacy as it relates to those students, those learners rather. And so, you know, there is the structure as it is. I'm going to come to the program But these are issues we want to get away from us so that the public would very well understand that don't think too much about this topic that we are talking about because it is going to happen. It is going to happen. Awaiting the time. But in part, as part of that, education is in serious crisis in this country. Management of the education system is overboard, so to speak. Many things are happening. Once upon a time, there was a superintendent of examinations, and I want to believe that person still sits there. But as vindictive as this ministry and this government is, they would have allowed for themselves to place at the examinations division at Queen's College a deputy chief education officer examinations. That is totally unfounded and has no merit in the education system because it is not part of the organizational structure of them. It is just providing an opportunity for friends, families, and favorites and payback time for some people. And so that person, whoever that person would have been, the deputy chief education officer examination, is relying heavily on the experience of the superintendent of examinations. Then they were bold enough, the Ministry of Education, because they want to fit their persons into positions. They have afforded a district education officer who came from Region 3 straight to assistant chief education officer, senior education officer examining. These people are wasting time there. And the superintendent of examinations is the person doing all the work. I am saying all these things because I am making a connection between what would have happened there today as it relates to taking out photographs and pictures of those learners who are engaged in the National Grade 6 assessment. And so this program thought it fit that before we get into the meat of the exercise tonight, to just bring that to the attention of viewers, knowing very well that education is in serious crisis in this country. And I'm going to come to some issues later on because the next issue I'm going to deal with as our operator gets ready to bring on some of these pictures we want to speak about, we are going to deal with the Guyana Teachers Union elections that are soon to be held and to be concluded in a particular time. And so at this stage, the union, there are going to be a number of positions at the level of the union that would be contested. And so I call these positions so that you know. And then 2 weeks ago, we launched that slate, that winning slate. Loyal and committed members of the union who would have been there long enough. And so I want to say to the viewers rather, what are the positions there? One would be the president, one would be the first vice president, one would be the second vice president, then you would have the general secretary, the Deputy General Secretary, the Treasurer, and Regional Vice Presidents Ezekiel, Demerara, and Borbis. And so as we present the pictures, the photographs of these persons, we are going to say a few things as it relates to these persons and why is it we have to, as teachers in the system, support this slate to give effective and efficient leadership of the Guyana teachers. You know that that union would have lacked that level of leadership over the past couple of years because of persons wanting to feather their own caps and to do things that would best suit them and not the union. And so, operator, if you can just start from bringing up for us there, first the regional vice presidents for whichever order you have it, Esquivo, Demerara, or Borbis, or whatever order. And then we take it from there. So in the meanwhile, the operator is getting ready. Well, so we start here. This is the regional vice chair president of the Guyana Teachers Union, Takordin Durga, an outstanding classroom teacher, an outstanding leader, a community leader, a church leader, a person who would have led the teachers in this region, Region 2, during the period of the protest, a very successful classroom teacher, as I said early on. And this program is presenting Sir Takordin Durga to be the regional vice president of Essequibo. And so we are calling, we are asking all our teachers who would have to go to the polls whichever day as you receive your postal ballots to cast your vote in favor of Takordin Durga for regional vice president Essequibo. He would have been a shining star at every level, at sports, in cultural events, and what have you, as against the person that is now representing us in this region, rather Esquibo. May I remind you that he did nothing during that period, and we have no reason to continue to support the present RVP Essequibo. So again, let us present to you and ask of you teachers tonight to vote Takordin Durga as regional vice president Essequibo. And so we move to Borbis or Demerara. And if we go to Demerara, we have two candidates and we are presenting whichever one. And so this is Borbis, regional vice president, RVP, Borbis, Mahalia McCalman. Miss McCalman would have been an outstanding classroom teacher, community worker, church worker, would have been across the Borbis region, ensuring that our teachers are properly represented. During the last protest action, she would have been very active, very engaging with our teachers and parents, and she was still able, in our own way and in our own time to allow our learners to be able to receive some level. This program now present to you Mahalia McCalman as our next regional vice president, Barbies, as we ask our teachers across the Barbies region to cast your vote overwhelmingly for Ms. McCalman, as she would have presented herself of regional vice president Barbies. We congratulate them, and at this stage, we ask of you now to support two persons on this slate for regional vice president Demerara. And so we have here Kenisha Hadley. Kenisha Hadley presenting to you an outstanding community worker, an outstanding community leader, an outstanding classroom teacher, an outstanding administrator, an outstanding youth leader, and a person who is eligible for the position, having had that experience, not only which in the areas in which she would have been involved. Yes, we are having some, and maybe the technical difficulty might be because of the weather condition, the rain in different parts of the country, and maybe from where I am broadcasting from in my studios. And so we continue this program. So we just presented to you the first candidate for regional vice president, Barbies Rada Demerara, Kenisha Hadley. And if by chance our operator can make it possible, we want to now present our second candidate. If by chance our operator can make it possible, we want to now present our second candidate for the position of regional vice chairman president Demerara, Randy Mingo. Randy would have been very outstanding, very outspoken, very community minded, very outgoing in his church and in his community and in youth activities. His involvement would have allowed him to gain the attraction, so to speak, of our teachers across the county of Demerara. And therefore, this program takes this great opportunity. It presented Sir Randy Mingo as a candidate for the position of Regional Vice President Demerara. So we wish him well, and we wish all the regional vice president, Esquibo, Demerara, and Borbis. We can assure you that based on the feedback this program would have had, that all our regional vice presidents this time around would have had tremendous support from our teachers, and they are going to have that tremendous support as the ballots are cast in their favor for the position as regional vice president Essequibo, Demerara, and Borbis. Now we have the treasurer. The treasurer we want to present tonight is so we await our operator. The treasurer we want to present is we are still having some technical difficulties. As soon we are able to rectify that, we are going to be able to continue to bring to you the pictures of the other persons. So here we have Miss Raylene Phillips. Miss Phillips is not only an outstanding classroom teacher, administrator, community worker, church person, but she's involved in many youth development projects. And you would recognize that if you know her well. She is very culturally grounded and oriented. And one of our main areas is singing and rendering calypsos. And so that culture in our schools would have captured our attention. And therefore, we want to this program present for you all the teachers now across this country. Vote for only one treasurer for betterment, for goodness, for kindness, for accountability, for fairness. As treasurer of the Guyana Teachers Union, this program presents to you Miss Raylene Phillips. Let us allow ourselves, when those ballots are before us, remember to cast in favor of Raylene Phillips as the new treasurer of the Guyana Teachers Union. An outstanding character and an outstanding area in which she would perform is the level of honesty, sincerity, and accountability. I said one area, but I mentioned more because it is coming to us on this program that she's going to bring that fairness, that honesty, that sincerity, and above all, accountability as she proceeds to be the next treasurer of the Guyana Teachers Union. So, teachers, we present to you Ms. Raylene Phillips so that you cast your vote in favor of her to be the next treasurer of the Guyana Teachers Union. So Our next position is the Deputy General Secretary. And the Deputy General Secretary would have served and is serving this term as it is. And so at this stage, we want to present Heathcliff